Alright, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Let us formally start our discussion on the introduction to our subject, forensic chemistry. I have borrowed this presentation from the legendary Dr. June Corpus. What is forensic chemistry? Class, it is application of chemical principles in the examination of physical evidences. Okay? It is a chemistry applied in the elucidation of legal problems. So, I would like to emphasize and highlight the word elucidation. Elucidation means the act of making something clear or easier to understand, especially by giving a detailed explanation or clarification. So, in simple terms, it is the chemistry applied to explain something thoroughly of legal problems. Okay? Elucidation class means explanation. Okay? Synonymously, clarification. Okay? Talagang no Ilocano kumakit kiwarem. Okay? Winukalkalyem daji punot dulo iti maysa. Okay? Nga um, test or maysa nga procedure kumbaga. Okay? Or kalkalkalam daji mismong urat iti problema. Okay? Tapos, you use this chemistry para ma-prove siya. Okay? Next, physical evidence. Okay? This refers to any tangible material object that can be seen, touched, or measured and that helps prove or disprove a fact. Okay? Basta pag sinabi mong physical, lahat ng mga senses ng tao nagagamit. Okay? It is real, observable evidence collected from a crime scene that can establish elements of a crime or link a suspect, victim, and scene. Okay? So, the main idea of studying forensic chemistry is to link, okay, the suspect, victim, okay, and scene on a crime. Kasi po, bawal ang bara-bara dito sa subject na ito. Hindi po porket merong krimen or merong scene, yung hypothesis natin pwede nang i-conclude. Okay? That's why there is what we call forensic chemistry. We apply it. We use it as a tool, okay, that would bring out, okay, the real, okay, reason for a legal problem or the cause of legal problem. So please memorize the role of forensic chemistry. Papabilisin nito ang investigasyon, susolusyonan nito ang mga krimen, and chemical findings are used in are convicting the guilty and clearing the innocent. Okay? So, those are the role of forensic chemistry. The other roles, it is to aid the investigator, determines if a specimen collected is effective for such examination. Okay, what we usually analyze in this subject are what we call the biological evidences. Okay? Pwede po si physical evidence, pwede rin si biological evidences. Okay, what are the example of the other body fluids aside from the blood? Blood is the primarily, okay, biological evidence tested in forensic chemistry. Okay? And the other body fluids are the following. Please take note: urine, saliva, laway, okay, semen, vaginal fluid, sweat or pawis, tears, or luha, breast milk, cerebrospinal fluid, gastric contents, bile, synovial fluid. Ito po yung fluid para ma-determine natin kung may arthritis ka o wala. Kasi kapag yung synovial fluid nagpapadulas sa mga joints natin. Okay? And then amniotic fluid, ito yung basis naman natin sa mga buntis. Ito yung chine-check up na fluid sa mga buntis, amniotic fluid. Kasi ang amniotic fluid, nagbibigay siya ng surfactant. Okay? Usually yung surfactant para makahinga yung bata sa sinapupunan. Okay? Siya yung nasa lungs ng bata sa sinapupunan. Okay? Pericardial fluid, yung fluid pampadulas doon sa puso. Pleural fluid, ito yung para maiwasan yung collapsing ng mga tissues natin. Sa lungs po yung pleural fluid. Peritoneal fluid, sa may bandang GIT yan. Okay? And then pancreatic fluid. Okay? Tapos prostatic fluid. Yan. So those are the examples of the other body fluids. Now, for the metals naman, okay, we have also there the textile fibers. And what are the examples of textile fibers? Please take note that textile fibers, okay, are classified into 4. The first is the natural fibers. The second, the semi-synthetic fibers. Third, synthetic fibers. Fourth, inorganic fibers. Now, under natural fibers, please take note, the examples are cotton, wool, silk. For the semi-synthetic fibers, rayon, modal, lyocell. For the synthetic fibers, here are our examples: polyester, nylon, acrylic. And lastly, inorganic fibers examples: the glass fiber, carbon fiber, and metallic fibers. Alright, we analyze also in forensic chemistry the following: poisons, okay, and also gunpowders. Okay. Blood, metals, tapos textile fibers, and then poisons, tapos gunpowders. The examples of gunpowder are black powder, smokeless powder, and then the gunshot residue. Okay? So please take note that black powder is what we call the traditional gunpowder, which consists of potassium nitrate, charcoal, and sulfur. So potassium nitrate class, you have encountered that in general chemistry with a chemical formula of KNO3. Nakuha po? Next, we have also the wines. Okay? And of course, dangerous drugs. Tapos, hair, as well as the glass fractures. Okay? Yan po yung mga ina-analyze natin. Ilan yan? Siyempre, blood is the primarily, and the other body fluids, yung mga sinabi ko kanina, yung mga fluids na yun, nasa tao. Okay? Next, metals. Siyempre, alam natin yan sa chemistry. Ang metals ay mga bakal. Non-metals may include. Ano pa? Textile fibers. Sa textile fibers, yung 4 na classification, binanggit ko kanina, natural, okay, yung synthetic, tapos yung inorganic, okay, as well as the semi-synthetic, and then poisons, of course. Tapos ano pa ang tinitest sa forensic chem? Gunpowder. Tapos yung wines. And of course, dangerous drugs. Ano pa? Buhok. Bakit kailangan ng buhok? Class, ang buhok natin may iba't ibang anatomy. Kung maalala ninyo, kapag ima-microscope mo yung buhok or i-test mo siya lalagay mo siya sa microscope, iba po yung buhok ng beard or facial hair at iba din po yung pubic hair. Okay? Usually, mas makapal yung medala ng mga pubic hair. Okay? Kaysa doon sa facial hair. Okay? So, yun. Kaya, detalyado siya. Hindi porket may buhok, i-conclude mo na buhok, dapat i-specify mo. That is pubic hair. Ano pa? Glass fractures. It is enable the microscopist, physicist, and a photographer. What else? Perception gathered by organ senses are imparted to others. It does not fall in any exemptions provided by the rules of court. So, this is the scope of forensic chemistry. I do hope you are patiently listening as this will come out on our happy day ever. Okay? So, first, it includes the chemical side of investigation. Okay? Next, analysis of material leading to legal proceedings. And the third, not only purely chemical questions, but also aspects of forensic science, as there are concepts, specifically the instrumentation methods, okay, of forensic science, okay, are included here. Okay, the aspects of forensic science, specifically those instrumentation methods, such as chromatography, spectrophotometry. Okay, these are instrumental tools, okay, that we can be used for a fast, reliable testing, okay, of those biological evidences. Okay, these are the branches of forensic science. Okay, yan, ano yung mga forensic science natin? Let's start with, okay, the legal medicine. Okay, the legal medicine is the branch of medicine that applies medical knowledge and principles to legal matters, especially in criminal investigation, civil cases, and court proceedings. Ballistics, the scientific study of firearms, ammunition, projectiles, and their behavior, from discharge to impact, including internal, external, and terminal ballistics. Question documents. It is the field of forensic science that deals with the examination and analysis of documents to determine authenticity, authorship, alterations, forgery, or tampering. Next, dactyloscopy, the science of fingerprint identification based on the study and comparison of friction ridge patterns. And of course, photography, it is the application of photographic techniques to document crime scenes, evidence, victims, and suspects accurately, preserving visual records for investigation and court presentation. Okay, so those are the branches of forensic science. And now, when it comes to forensic instrumentation, okay, so memorize nyo yan. Tapos meron tayong tinatawag na forensic instrumentation. Okay, just to add, yung forensic instrumentation, there we use the instrumental methods that was explained a while ago. And that instrumental methods, okay, including, okay, the chromatography and spectrophotometry. Okay? Kasi yun yung mga other branches, no, ng forensic science na pwede nating i-correlate, okay, yung forensic chemistry and toxicology. So please memorize the stages of forensic chemistry, starting or beginning with collection or reception of the specimen to be examined, and then the sub-definitions. Please memorize. Second, the actual examination of a specimen. Okay? We need to scrutinize the document complete. Document complete description of external appearance, manner of collection, and secured. Let's include also photographs and of course weighing and measuring of the records. Third, the communication of results. And fourth, the court appearance, which oral evidence is done if the case is brought to court. Please memorize and be familiarized with the factors contributing to the loss of physical evidence. Yan. Mawawala po yung physical evidence. Ano yung sabi natin kanina? Yung ebidensya na kung saan lahat ng senses ng katawan natin nagagamit. Sense of smell, touch, hear, okay, taste. Yon. So, pwede bang mawala yon? Yes, sir. Okay, and what are the factors na magli-lead or magdidirekta sa atin para masyadong matamper or mawala yung physical evidence na yon? Una, lack of precautions. Okay? Pinipigilan natin yung pagtamper ng specimen. Okay, so what does it mean by tamper or tampering? Tamper means to interfere with, alter, damage, or manipulate something intentionally, often without permission. Andun na, tamper means pagmamanipula, pagpipigil, okay? And that is intentional. So, yung mga specimen dinadaya. Pag dinaya mo, wala na. Okay? Wala nang physical evidence. So, dapat pinipigilan natin. Okay? Na nangyayari yung tampering kapag kulang ka rin sa mga babala or warning. Next, you failed in preserving the specimen. Okay, lalo na sa buhok, dapat nilalagay mo siya doon sa hazard bag, tapos tinitape, tapos binabalot siya. Usually, ang practice sa ibang bansa, ganun. Okay? Kahit isang strand ng hair yan, ilagay mo doon sa parang plastic ng Shopee, di ba? Yung hazard bag, may ganun kasi eh. Tapos, itchani mo siya, ilagay mo doon. And then, balutin mo ng papel. Tapos, babalutin mo pa ng isa pang papel para magmukha siyang parang mail or sulat lang. Tapos, ipadala mo sa lab. Pero pag ganun, pinidot mo lang, tapos natinag mo, wala na. Next, failure in transport of specimen. May mga specimen kasi class na kung tawagin natin, dapat errand. Okay? Errand sila na dalhin doon mismo sa laboratory. Kasi may mga specimen na dapat i-fix. Pag sinabing fix, gagamit tayo ng formaldehyde. Ang formaldehyde, yun po yung formalin. Ang formalin yung ginagamit sa pang-imbalsamo. Kaya nga, nami-maintain ang integrity ng isang patay kasi siya ay may formalin sa loob. Kung may kakilala kayong mga imbalsamador, okay, then tignan ninyo kung paano yung procedure, i-ask ninyo, may mga concentrations ng formalin na nilalagay doon sa dead body, pagkatapos, ipe-preserve yan. And that is the purpose of formalin. Okay? Kaya yung ibang mga nalibing na ng 3 decades, sasabihin sa KMJS, wow, hindi inagnas, buo pa rin. That may be because of the concentration of formalin or the effect of formalin in the cell. Kasi po yung tissue, kapag nilabas mo lang, ganito para ma-apply nyo. Kung nakakita na kayo ng patay na pusa o patay na daga, nandun lang sa air, anong nangyari? Nagbangsit, mabaho, lumulobo. Bakit? Kasi bakterya. Dadapuan niya ng langaw, tapos mangingitlog yung langaw doon sa patay na cell hanggang sa magiging maggots. Ang maggots kasi, gustong-gusto niya ay patay na cell. Nakuha po. Tapos, yung patay na cell, yun yung kakainin niya. Mangingitim yung cell, kasi ang cell natin, mostly proteinated yung mga yan. Okay, dahil proteinated yung mga yan, madali siyang masira. Lalo kapag kinain siya ng bakterya o kaya ng mga maggots. Kasi, ang tawag doon, putrefaction. And then, pagdating ng putrefaction, okay, putrefaction means, okay, destroying the protein structure. Okay? Ang tawag doon ay, tapos yung isang term na ginagamit natin ay autolysis. Please take note that autolysis is a self-destruction. Ayan. May mga terms na ginagamit sa mga dead cell. Okay? So, ang nangyayari, kapag ang isang cell or tissue, iniwan mo lang dyan sa ere, mga 24 to 48 hours, mangingitim yan, babaho yan, kasi wala siyang formalin. At ang formalin ay kailangan para ma-preserve siya kahit ilang buwan. Now, kapag ang isang sample hindi na transport kaagad at hindi na agapan ng formalin, wala na yung ebidensya. Okay? Now, in relation to that, if failure ka to transport the specimen, syempre, madidistort yung tissue that would lead to the failure in identifying the specimen. So, please memorize the 6 golden rules of this subject. Okay, so ito na yung sinasabi ko kanina ng mga techniques na ginagamit sa forensic chemistry. So, microscopy, ayan, zoom in, zoom out lang ito, and then photography, ayan, preservation of the evidence, ayan. Kaya sa mahilig mag-picture-picture dyan, pwede kayong mag-apply, no, sa mga branches of PNP. Next, invisible rays, ayan. What else? Chromatography. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina, no, na you separate it in chromatography. It asks the question, can we separate the mixtures? Okay, that should be the questioning, your way of thinking in the topic of chromatography. Halimbawa, ang kape 3-in-1, ihalo mo sa tubig. So, it is asking the question, yung bang powder, pwede kong maihiwalay doon sa fluid? Yes, definitely. Okay? Because that's what chromatography do. For example, can I determine the concentration of drugs in my blood? Yes, definitely. Okay? We can determine it. That's why you cannot deny. Okay? You cannot deny. Even you were a consumer and user way back, no, 10 decades, we can still recognize that. Next, electrophoresis. Parang kinukuryente mo lang dito yung mga DNA fragments. Tapos gumagawa ka kasi dito sa electrophoresis ng ng mga band proteins kung tawagin natin. Tapos yung band proteins na yan, ililink natin yung kanilang kasi yung mga band proteins magiging legend or basis natin yan to compare it on the crime scene, which will be discussed sooner. Okay? So just be patient and keep going. Okay, the other are spectrography, laser technique, and then mass spectrometry. Yan. And this is what I'm talking about, spectrophotometry. A while ago, maybe on tomorrow or on our face-to-face, I would like to emphasize the spectrophotometry. Try nyo ngayon. Kuha ka ng plastic bottle, lagyan mo ng tubig dun sa transparent container, tapos use your phone, ilawan mo, and then magtimpla ka ng kape on the same container, okay, na transparent yung glass, tapos ilawan mo, and then observe for the difference. Ano ang napansin mo nung inilawan mo yung tubig na clear doon sa glass na transparent, no, yung nakikita, compared doon sa kape? Yan, because that's how spectrophotometry works. We can determine, okay, we are after the concentration of a something. Yan. And then, we are going to relate spectrophotometry with the DNA typing. Kasi DNA typing, kasama niyan si electrophoresis tsaka si PCR. Magpipinsan niya mga yan. Pag nag-perform ka ng DNA typing, dapat yung electrophoresis tsaka PCR magkasama mo. Mauna si PCR, tapos electrophoresis, saka ka magdi-DNA typing. Next, insekto, may kinalaman din sa forensic. Ang tawag doon ay forensic entomology. And also class, can we detect calcium concentration in your blood? Can we detect those elements found in the periodic table of chemistry in your blood? Yes. Ang tawag po dyan ay atomic absorption. Kaya hindi ka talaga makakadeny. Okay? Kaya, even the presence of drug concentration, okay, or a specific part of drug element can be identified using the atomic absorption.